Chapter 4. In the morning, I wake up, disoriented. I can't quite believe I made it through the night, all by myself, so far from home. Sunlight is streaming in the windows past white, dotted Swiss curtains, and in spite of myself, I'm a little pleased that I can put a name to the thin, old-fashioned material. It's a shame it's not dimity, I think, because I like that word better. I'm not actually sure what dimity looks like. I am the only kid I know who's even heard of dimity, who likes old-fashioned words, who's ever bothered to read the dusty, falling-apart books at the back of the school library, behind the brand-new computers. I think it's because my parents gave me so many antique toys when I was little, along with the Bratz dolls and the toy computers. I'm the only kid I know who had a Cabbage Patch doll. I was the only one who had a collection of My Little Pony videos and my own VCR instead of just DVDs and a DVD player. Thinking about my old toys makes me sad, and I get an ache in my throat that makes me want to be a little kid again, just so I can get away with throwing myself on the floor and pounding my fist and hollering, "I want my mommy, I want my daddy, I want to go home." Instead, I make myself sit up and put on my glasses so I can look around. I'm in one of the two twin beds angled on one side of a spacious room, opposite a wall full of windows. Both of the beds are covered with lacy yellow comforters, and the furniture is all white, even the desk that's under the windows. It's clearly been a little girl's room, and that makes me wonder about Merle. "It's only me living here now," she said last night. Did she used to have a husband? Kids? Merle is a mystery to me. The only thing I know about her is that my father said she was my aunt. Does that make her my father's sister or my mother's? It bothers me that I don't know this, but my parents never talked much about their own childhoods. For all they've told me about their past, you would think their lives began the same day as mine. I slip out of bed and cross the room to one of the windows. It looks out on a generous backyard studded with huge, brightly colored trees. Two at the back particularly stand out. One bigger, one smaller, both brilliant red. The autumn leaves surprised me because when we were driving yesterday, right up until nightfall, all we passed were bare, bleak landscapes with trees holding empty branches up to a gray sky. You've come south, I tell myself, and I'm proud of my powers of deduction. Trees lose their leaves later the farther south you go. Ergo, Merle's house is a good deal south, as well as west of Greenleaf, Pennsylvania. But this reminds me that I don't even know what state I'm in, and I don't feel much like gloating over my brilliance. I wander around the room aimlessly, fingering a miniature glass tea set on the dresser, a china doll on the desk. Since I've never stayed the night before at anyone else's house, I'm not sure what the rules are. Am I supposed to wait in the room until Merle comes to get me, or am I supposed to go downstairs so she knows I'm awake? Trying to decide, I open the door and peek out into the hall. I catch a glimpse of a sink and a toilet behind a nearby door, and I decide that no one could fault me for going to the bathroom. The bathroom is an old-fashioned one, with claw feet on the bathtub and black and white tile floor and a separate knobby handles on the hot and cold faucets. If I concentrate really hard, I can distract myself from the weirdness of my situation by thinking about how this bathroom could fit in the early 1900s movie I was imagining the night before. But bathrooms don't usually figure very prominently into those kinds of movies, so I'm feeling strange and awkward and uncomfortable when I open the door. Merle is climbing the stairs right outside the bathroom. "Good morning," she says with some of the fake heartiness my father employed last night. "I thought I heard you stirring about up here. I didn't know if you were an early riser or someone who could sleep the whole morning away like..." She freezes, looks a little panicked, and then hastily continues, "Like a lot of kids. Anyhow, since you got out of bed so late last night, I thought I'd just let you sleep until you woke up. Although with the time change, you're probably totally messed up. I took the day off work so I'd be sure to be here when you got up. Would you like some breakfast?" She's doing that thing where you talk too much when you don't know what to say. I tend to go in the other direction, not talking enough. So I stand there for a few seconds in silence. Am I in a different time zone now, I want to ask, and who is it that can sleep the entire morning away, besides me? But all I say is, breakfast would be nice. I follow her down the stairs, and she offers me bacon and eggs and toast. Or pancakes? How about pancakes? I choose Raisin Bran, the only cereal in the house. It's the kind of breakfast I wouldn't touch back home. Fruit Loops are more my style, but somehow it seems like I'd be even more beholden to Merle if she went to the trouble of scrambling eggs or mixing pancake batter just for me. I feel strange enough ladling the cereal up to my mouth and chewing and swallowing while Merle sits across the table watching me. Suddenly I'm disgusted with my own wimpiness, my willingness to sit there as meekly as a lab specimen under a microscope when I've got so many questions swarming through my mind. I swallow hard and the Raisin Bran scrapes down my throat. Where do you work? I ask, because it seems like a nice neutral opening shot. Merle jumps a little, like she's forgotten I have a voice, or like she thinks that's something I should already know. Oh, she says, at the school. I teach kindergarten. I can see her as a kindergarten teacher, all cheerful and patient, and now let's try the wheels on the bus one more time, boys and girls. I know you can do it. But her answer gives me a little pang for the year of school I missed, all because my mother said, I'm just not ready to send Bethany out into this world all by herself yet, as if kindergarten were full of brigands and murderers and thieves, not chunky books and brightly colored blocks and little girls in frilly socks who might have been my friends. It's Meadow Elementary, just a few blocks away, Merle is saying. Oh, never mind. I bend over my cereal and pretend to be searching for raisins, but really I'm adding up the number of times Merle has broken off her words in the middle of a sentence. Last night, you just look so much like up on the stairs. Someone who could sleep the morning away like... And now, I tell myself I just want one more word in one of those sentences, but it probably wouldn't be enough. Merle has fallen silent again. I take a sip of my orange juice, which is thick and full of pulp. I absolutely despise pulpy orange juice, but I swallow it anyway, as though that earns me the right to ask another question. A braver question. Whose room was I sleeping in? Merle frowns ruefully. I guess you could say it's set up for grandchildren to come and visit, but I don't have any yet. My daughter's not even married, and she says there are no prospects right now, so it'll be a while. She shrugs. The furniture used to be my daughter's when she was a little girl. She always wanted 2 beds in her room so she could have sleepovers with friends. Merle's words come out slower and slower as she comes to the end of her sentence, and she practically whispers the last word. A shadow crosses her face, like an echo of long-ago pain. And in that instant, she looks incredibly familiar. You're my mother's sister, aren't you? I blurt out, even though she's taller, plumper, and older. Merle has the same straight nose, the same wide mouth, and the same intense eyes as my mother. Merle just had to look sad for me to see the resemblance. Her plaintive expression deepens. They didn't even tell you that, she whispers. We stare at each other, my cereal forgotten. It's as if we've just crashed through the skeletal bridge I was trying to build between us and my pitiful little questions. We're in free fall, waiting to crash into whatever lies below. The phone rings instead. We both jump, and Merle says, I'll get it, as if there's some possibility that I'd race her for it. She stands at the counter and offers a wary hello into the receiver. She listens, then says, She's right here, Walter, but I'd like to talk to you, too, before you hang up. And then I'm racing for the phone. I grab it from her, rudely, because I'm suddenly terrified that she'll get her conversation in first and there won't be any time left for me. Daddy, I say, and Merle backs away. She puts away the Raisin Bran box, takes dishes to the sink, but she doesn't leave the kitchen. Oh, honey, it's so good to hear your voice, he says. His voice sounds tinny and artificial and far away. I feel like I can hear the distance between us over the phone. Where are you? I say. I think it's better if I don't tell you that. I can practically count on one hand the number of times my father has refused me any toy or CD or cool outfit or jewelry. But what I want now isn't a thing. Tears swarm in my eyes. Daddy, I glance a dart toward Merle. She has her back to me. She's bent over the sink, washing dishes. Daddy, come back and get me. I can wait with you while Mom gets help. I'll be quiet. I'll be good. No, he says, and his voice is like rock now. We were learning about Mohs hardness scale in school right before I left home, and now I think, Mr. Rodnow is wrong. Diamond is not the hardest substance. My father's voice should be the standard. I'm sorry, my father says, relenting a little, but it's best this way. You're safe there. Safe? I think I've been picturing my parents at some kind of psychiatric institution for very sad people. How could that not be safe? Are some of the patients dangerous? Why is it safe for you if it isn't safe for me, I ask, an edge of brattiness creeping into my voice. Bethany, my father says helplessly, and the tears come back to my eyes. I don't want my father to be helpless. I want him to be fearless and in charge, my protector. I couldn't even call you last night, I complained. I tried your cell phone and there's something wrong. The telephone company said it was out of service. So was my number and Mom's, and don't call those numbers again, my father shouts. He's panicked. In fact, just stay away from the phone unless I call, and I will call as much as I can, I promise. I'll try to call once a day. What if I need you more often than that? I whimper, and my vision blurs as the tears take over. The toaster I'm staring at seems to tremble before my eyes. Let me talk to Merle, my father says. Somehow Merle must know that part of the conversation is over because she's suddenly beside me, holding out her hand for the phone. Why don't you go take a shower while I'm on the phone, she says brightly, as if she can't see that I'm crying, as if I can't tell her that's just a ploy for privacy. Numbly, I push my way out of the kitchen door and trudge up the stairs. I'm nearly at the top when I hear the kitchen door latch firmly. I stand still for a second, deciding. In my mind, I can see the cord tethering the phone into the wall, ensuring that Merle can't roam while she talks. Silently, I tiptoe back down the stairs and press my ear against the kitchen door.